What is up, peoples? This is the Nightly Grind podcast. Oh my god, I'm terrible. We do this every Friday night. Essentially, tonight we're gonna do something a little bit different, where we kind of go through ourselves and introduce ourselves, and how we kind of came into gaming and stuff. So yeah. Um, so, guys, feel free to kind of comment on things, ask questions yourselves, as long as it's appropriate to what whoever is talking about is talking about. Um, yeah, so I
None of the dirty, dirty talk.
none of that dirty stuff, you know what I mean?
I prefer
So,
that actually.
so what we're kind of gonna do, I'll start, and then we'll kind of go around the screen and introduce ourselves, how we got into gaming, blah blah blah, and how we became part of the nightly grind. Um, so I go by Jake or Ninja or even Ninja Sneakers, and I'll kind of go into how I got my names here in a bit. But I started gaming when I was fairly young. I think my brothers had a Sega Genesis where I played a lot of Sonic and um, Gunstar Heroes. And of course, I saw this meme earlier. It was a person holding up a beer, and it was cheers to the younger brother that was always second player. And I was like, how true is that? Because I normally was second player because this guy over here was always first player. Um, so yeah, playing Sega all the time, especially when I was in school. My elementary school, I would go home and do nothing but video game all day, and I would always hate playing like the SNES because I was Luigi all the time, and I would end up being, terrible at the game, and my brothers would just fly through it, and I hated it. Um, but then I got into some kind of solo play games when the PS1 came out. I remember playing the first Resident Evil and having nightmares about it. Um, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about now, but back then, I mean, I was pretty young when Resident Evil came out.
You were like
Um,
6.
exactly, exactly.
Wait, do you have another brother?
Yes, I
Wait,
we have another brother. Yes.
So, like,
Um,
basically, you'd watch Barney and then play Resident Evil.
Damn.
kind of. I mean, it was more like watch Dexter's Lab
I
and
love
play
you.
Resident Evil.
Don't knock Dexter's Lab, man.
Oh no, it was great. JT, put it down. So, I played a lot of PS1 back in the day. We had some ways of playing PlayStation games that weren't so ethical back in the day. But it
Any
happened.
mature ratings?
No,
So ethical.
no,
Copied,
that's not what I.
copied.
Yeah, pretty much.
Triangle boob.
So yeah, our dad would get games galore, and it was pretty awesome. Um, so I spent a lot of my time doing that, and then Xbox came out, and the very first Halo, you had to name your profile so you could play with each other and stuff like that, and that's where the name Jake5079 came from because I thought it was cool, and it actually stands for a little bit more, but I can't get into that without getting into some personal stuff. But 5079, if you don't know, kind of makes a cross on the keyboard or on the keypad. Um,
On a number pad on like a phone, not on your keyboard.
kind of, yeah. But so Halo was my first name gaming experience, but then I got into online gaming, where my very first online game was on the. Well, no, I don't know if that's true or not. Oh yeah, I guess the PSP. I played SOCOM online, which was actually a really fun experience. Um, it was a lot of fun times. I remember there was this guy called Reptilia and I had a couple other friends that made a clan, and we were really good at it. Um, and then, of course, I got into Gears of War Online, which I lived on, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out, which I also lived on. I think that was what really got me into the online scene. And then let's see, about high school or so, I was a junior in high school, and I went to school for my A+ certification, which, for those of you that don't know, that's basically learning hardware and the operating systems for a PC. You're becoming a PC technician, essentially.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So about that time, when I graduated, well, no, I didn't graduate yet. After junior year, I added a graphics card to some junky computer that my dad had, and I started playing PC games. Which my first ones were Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Left 4 Dead, and Counter-Strike 1.6, which is where a lot of my first PC gaming influences came from, because of course now I still do play a lot of Counter-Strike and competitive gaming. I even got into the competitive scene of Left 4 Dead on the matchmaking side of that, so that was pretty fun. But senior year, I went to school for the Cisco side of the computer spectrum, so it was networking and stuff like that. And when I graduated, of course, had a big graduation party, and then all the money that I got from that, thanks Smiley Dog, we appreciate it. So the money I got from graduating, I actually used to build a gaming PC that I said I would need for college, and it'd be great. But yeah, I didn't end up using that money for college at all. It was mainly towards that PC gaming computer. It was really nice. I don't remember exactly what the specs were, but I know it was awesome for my standards back then after building that really shitty computer. Oh yeah, that first computer, by the way, my first graphics card was a Radeon something, and it blew up right away. I had it for like a week. So I've been all about NVIDIA ever since. So yeah, after that, after I built my first gaming PC, I was playing a lot of Left 4 Dead 2, and I think that's when I met these guys. They were known as 1F'n back then, so I was like, oh, hey, you guys are pretty good at this scavenge game. Do you guys have, well, you're obviously in a clan, but do you guys have comms or anything? And they were like, yeah, join Vent. So I think it was Bone, which is this guy down here, and Anti, that recruited me into the clan, basically.
It's amazing you're still around because Anti was in the channel.
Yeah, so I remember Anti being the person that's like, oh, there's a new guy in the clan, he's gonna be the new clan bitch, and everybody's like, no, Anti, you're still the clan bitch, that's not gonna change.
He will always be the clan bitch forever.
But yeah, I got the name Ninja because their clan was 1F'n at the time, so it had to be 1F'n whatever. So I know Bone went by 1F'n Bone, it was 1F'n Torn Soul, 1F'n Vendetta, whatever it was. So I went by 1F'n Ninja, which when I transferred over to Twitch, Ninja's already taken, obviously, because everybody wants to be the first ninja.
There's only one ninja.
There can only be one.
That's the reason why I no longer like calling myself Shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were a real ninja, you could take care of that problem for yourself.
So I changed my name over to Ninja Sneakers, and I've been watching Twitch since it's been Justin TV back in the day, which, wow, I can't even... Dan's Gaming and Man vs. Game back in the day when they were just on Justin TV, because they had maybe 100 or 200 people watching at one time, where now it's thousands and thousands of people watching at one time.
You can just say millions.
Well, there are millions of people watching Twitch, not just those streamers.
I don't know. I think some people hit over 1 million.
Not viewers at once. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I mean, League of
What
Legends.
about PewDiePie?
No.
No.
So there might be 1 million people watching League of Legends altogether, not the same streamer. I don't think that.
Yeah, not the same stream at the same time.
But yeah, essentially that was kind of what happened with my whole gaming career. I'm one of the youngest here. I think I am the youngest out of all of us. So
No.
how old are you, Vince?
24.
Yeah, you're older than me.
Damn.
Well,
So-
we're arguing on who's the youngest. Wow, Torn
So
feeling really bad.
I don't
right
know.
now.
You guys are bricks.
My story is kind of
Bricks.
my story is kind of short-lived, but I know I've had a lot of fun over the years, just especially with the online gaming. So those of you that know me, I enjoy playing multiplayer games a lot more than I do single player anymore. I love story-driven games, but at the same time, my heart belongs to competitive gaming and multiplayer. So that's where I'm at. So now I'm going to give a chance for everybody else to kind of give their introductions and tell a little bit about themselves. So, Torn, why don't you go ahead and give us yours?
Okay, I'm gonna kind of go a little bit faster than that because if I went all the way back and went chronologically through my gaming career, we could be here a while. So I got my
That
start.
just totally like kills me too.
I got my start on arcade games down at the local Circle K and the pizza joint. They had Pac-Man at the pizza joint, which was like pretty cool. And Dig Dug. All the games were Atari games. Dig Dug. There's a whole wealth of them. And that was right before Atari came to like an actual console. And it came out and like 2 people could play at the same time. And there was a paddle wheel and shit. It was high tech for the times. But I didn't get one because I'm not cool.
They were
And
expensive.
well, yeah, they were.
They were really expensive.
So my actual first console I played was Pong. It was the original ping pong game. And my parents ditched me off over at this dude's house so they could go on vacation to have sex, you know. And,
Yeah.
and so I'm at this guy's house. He goes, "Well, have you ever played Pong?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I have not." And he dragged out this Pong console, and it was the size of a small block Chevy. It was massive. It was huge.
Is it tube? They didn't have tubes in them, didn't they?
I don't know.
We're
I
not
don't
going
know.
back that far, man. My God.
But it was
So
massive.
big.
It was massive. And I was hooked. He was like done playing in like 30 minutes, and I had both paddles just going, "Oh yeah, this is the shit." And I finally scored an Atari for Christmas or my birthday. I don't know. I'm too old to remember, but I got a few games. Atari was badass, and then NES hit after I can't remember how many years, but it was I was still living on the same street when NES hit, so, and my friend got one, and so I had to go over and play his. You know, after I hope his mom would come up with like some chores or some shit for him, but he only show up at chore time. How's it going, man? Oh, doing your chores then. Can I play your NES? Sure. So that was NES was it upped it. What was it, like a whole 8-bit? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
NES was
What,
8-bit.
NES? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, it was 16. It was 16 because the
The SNES was
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was natural progression. It was SNES, Sega, Nintendo 64, up through PS1, PS2, PS3. And along the way, Windows came out with 3.1. DOS. Well, DOS with 3.1. 3.1, and you could like literally, you did a lot of things in DOS, but 3.1 was the GUI interface. It was cool. It was the hip. It was the new thing. And I got 2 games for that. I got them at the library because you could rent games at the library. That's where you went for like media, basically. It was before Betamax came out and VHS and all that. You went to the library, you got reel-to-reel tapes, you got PC games that were, most of them were educational. You know, follow a little girl in the dress to find her lost cat and add some shit up while you're on your way, kind of thing. But I got a mech game, one of the first mech games that ever landed. I can't remember what it was because this was a long time ago. And this, it was the first person shooter. It was like a Hanoi game where you were in Vietnam, and it was ugly graphics, but everything kind of blended together. It was terrible. But man, you were running around, you could shoot people, and like little like bits of blood, little squares of blood would come out. Man, I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. And the mech game, you would see missiles come firing past your screen. That was all new stuff for us. It was crazy. It was like cutting edge. And I was absolutely hooked on FPS. And fast forward ahead, I quit playing games for many, many years because basically I discovered, the finer things in life. And
What are those?
So I got married, squirted out a couple pups, and we got a computer, and I got the game Tribes, first one, and I must have spent, I don't know, 8 hours a day playing that. If I wasn't working, if I wasn't picking up, if I wasn't cleaning, I was playing that damn game. And so that was it for a while. It was Tribes, and that was when Windows ME came out. Oh, those bastards! That was terrible. I just want to say that on air. Windows ME,
and we're shut down.
Experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Anyway,
Windows 10. goodbye.
after my I stopped playing that after a while. I just played it, and I got a hold of this game called America's Army. I heard about it in a forum, first-person shooter, so I was down right away. It was free, so that was, and so I installed it, and I was trying to hop on servers, and the community was like really diehard. It was the first community I had ever been around where they're just like freakishly diehard about ridiculous things. And I ran into Shadow and this guy named Maverick, and we started Death Before Dishonor. And that was like some of the best gaming that I did for many, 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 many years. It was never dull. It was always a laugh. It was fun gaming. It was intense. That game really, really, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then we got into, let's see, what was that? Rainbow Six. And then Battlefield 2 came out, which was a whole new thing because all of a sudden these maps were just massive, and there was tanks, and there was planes, and there was helicopters, and there was mines, and there was just dude, it was taking FPS to that next level, the next level that it needed to be at. And that was a lot of fun. But then Shadow went on like this thing where where he found WoW, found himself in WoW. And our ranks had swollen. We had 50 people at one time, and it was just getting so tiring, and there was disputes and arguments, and couldn't coordinate things because 50 people it's like a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Don't ever let your clan swell to those ranks because you want to shoot yourself.
Unless you're charging in mission.
Yeah, that's right. If you're charging fees, then that's a good thing. But So the clan sort of fizzled out. It kind of just like went on hiatus, and yeah. So fast forward a few years, I ran into a couple of the DVD guys and said, "Let's shoot some shit." It's what we know. There was. This was after Battlefield 2142. Which,
I loved that game.
yeah, you were the one. And we were trying to think of a clan name, and I think we were still kind of like wary of the whole clan thing to begin with. We enjoyed the core group of guys really loved gaming together because we could just like hop on, kick ass, bust each other's balls, have a few laughs, and go on with our lives. It was very methodical, even though it was crazy. And so we were trying to come up with a name, and I was like, why don't we just do that one fucking clan, man? You were just that one fucking clan. So that's where one effing came from. That one effing guy, and that went for a while. And I'm not going to tell you how we went from that to here. But basically, we made a couple of transitions and felt like the whole Beans series, the clans have changed. Clans aren't what they used to be. Media has changed. It's not what it used to be. And so we became the Nightly Grind, just a bunch of gamers getting on and fucking off and doing a show every Friday night for you guys. So that's
you do that in front of our viewers, you fuck off?
That's on the other channel.
Yeah, that's not on Twitch. Check out
Dude, it's a figure of holy.
What the crotch cam is for, duh.
You're the only one that has a crotch cam.
So yeah, so that's how I came to be at the Nightly Grind in a condensed
The condensed 15-minute version.
yeah, condensed version, yeah. So
That wasn't really a condensed
I'm
version.
Torn Soul.
When you started
the
like
only Torn Soul.
1984.
First of all, I've been Torn Soul for 15 years. If anybody says they were Torn Soul first, they can kiss my ass. There's only one. And if you see anybody that with this name, you just to them. That's not true, man. You're not the one. I know the
You're
one.
not the one?
No. So yeah, so that's me. In a
In a
nutshell.
nutshell.
Yeah.
Nutshell. Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so yeah.
And next, Shadow.
Yeah, great. I get to follow that. Do I have to start back like in my,
You can talk
Tornsoul
about.
did a good job.
You can fill the 1FN to JRS transition.
I mean, once you get to that.
No, you called me out on my Warcraft, so I at least got to say I started. I was a '90s kid, so I mean, I owned a Nintendo, I owned a Sega Genesis, a Sega CD, PlayStation. I lived on consoles until.
A 90s kid.
Well, yeah, I'm not like you, man. I'm not like 6 during the 90s. Yeah.
I was born in the 90s, just saying.
Yeah, I was born in the 80s, so yeah. I wasn't like born in the 50s, but still.
He stumbled into the 90s.
But I lived on consoles. I played consoles like nonstop until I got out of high school and was able to actually afford my own computer. And after that, it was pretty much all downhill from there. I still played consoles hardcore until about 2001, 2002. Pretty much cut my teeth on PC gaming playing like MMOs. Ultima Online back in the day was the one I started on primarily. And that pretty much, I went from Ultima to a few other different MMOs around the time, but that's all I really used for PC gaming. And one of the jobs, I worked at Blockbuster, which is a running joke and gag for anybody that knew me back then. But one of the guys who actually was in the clan with us, Dick, who Bone and Torn both know, he basically was a customer that came in all the time and we bullshit about gaming, and he basically was like, dude, you gotta like download this free game on PC, and America's Army was the game. And pretty much played America's Army and soon as I got to the PC and the game, keyboard, mouse, it was like, why the hell am I using a controller for a first-person shooter? And anybody who uses a controller for a first-person shooter, you suck. You're never going to ever want to play against somebody with a keyboard and mouse. It just doesn't freaking work that way. But pretty much Torn explained it. The only thing he misses is that we were actually in some other clan whose name I can't remember. And we were in some weird America's Army clan at the time. And me, Torn, and Mav were all members of that clan. And our clan leader was like a dick. And we'd always sit there and like freaking 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, dude, let's just stop. Instead of like being in this server with this dumb clan, let's just start our own shit. And that was how DBD got started. We were like, screw it, we're going to start our own crap. And I think Bone got involved around that time too. I don't remember if you were part of that clan, Bone, or we found you in like
very early.
It was right after. I mean,
you
within
started.
days.
Yeah. It was very quickly after.
Yeah. So, and like I said, we played. I lived on frickin' America's Army for God knows how long. I mean, I think we all got over probably at least 1,000 hours in that game, if not more. But also, I still played MMOs because at the time I was still playing Ultima, and then I went to some Korean MMO called Ragnarok Online, which was an awesome, if not total grindfest MMO. I ran a guild in that, and actually I broke a guild up in that, which has also become something I'm very good at. Played the hell out of that, and then Warcraft happened. And
Dun.
Warcraft was basically I lost my job. Warcraft came out. I lost my job like 2 weeks after Warcraft came out, and then spent like the next 6 months living on Warcraft. I mean, living on Warcraft. I mean, like playing 12 hours a fucking day on Warcraft. I'm talking like.
Were you a mage?
No, I was a rogue.
Not much conjuring of food then.
No, I was a rogue on a PvP server called Shattered Hand, which was one of the most unbalanced servers in Warcraft history.
I know that server.
We were outnumbered about 10 or 15 to 1 on a good day, and we became excellent PvPers. But so basically lived on Warcraft, got into a guild, did all kinds of crazy shit. Since we were always outnumbered, most of us were really, really good PvPers because, like, from level 20, as soon as you got into contested areas, we were literally constantly being harassed by like 5 to 10 allies. So you got really good at either running away or fighting to the death. And my little 5-man team could easily take on 10, 20, 30 people before we eventually just get zerged by, a 40-man pre-made raid. But basically had a fallout in that with the guild over Molten Core rating, which anybody that knows Warcraft knows Molten Core rating. Anybody who knows classic Warcraft knows Molten Core rating. But got basically burned out, couldn't deal with the freaking guild politics, stopped playing the game, came back to DVD, and basically I still played, I just didn't play as much as I did. And by this time, everybody was playing Battlefield 2, and I couldn't afford a graphics card to really play Battlefield 2 because anybody that went through PC gaming at that time realizes every 3 months a new game engine came out, and every 3 months you needed a new graphics card to even use that game engine. So I couldn't afford it back then, so it was back to Warcraft, and joined another server, started over, joined another guild, got to like cap in like 3 weeks, probably less than that because I was fucking hardcore, and got a new job, started getting more money, got a new graphics card, got bored of Warcraft, went back and played first-person shooter, got Battlefield 2 and stuff like that. Then, like, a year later, we were playing Warcraft on a Associates server, and the bastard got me hooked again. And then I disappeared for like another year or two. Playing Warcraft. During that time, I broke up 2 guilds, started 3 guilds, ended up leading a raid team and did most of Endgame Cataclysm, and then got burned out again and left. And came back to first-person shooters, which I think at that time it was Battlefield 2142. At that time, we played Battlefield 2142 for a while. It was great, Went back to Warcraft again. Played what was it? Played Lich King. Pretty much tried to beat Lich King, got burned out again, back to first-person shooters. It's basically me. It's like constantly flipping back from MMOs to first-person shooters, like most of the 2000s. brand new more guilds, brought guild members to actually Torrin was building websites for our guild, dragged in a few of you guys to play Warcraft. That was towards the end when I was literally like going stir crazy because I didn't have anybody I could do anything with because most of the people I just oh god, I'm sorry.
That was Cataclysm.
That was the end of Cataclysm. Well, that was Cataclysm. Yeah, Cataclysm's when I finally realized I hate Warcraft. And I couldn't stand it anymore. And I'll never play that game again, or so I say. But I'll never play that game again.
Don't lie to yourself.
Well, no, I won't. I literally...
You were like the Elizabeth Taylor of guilds. Just get them and break them.
Every guild I broke, every guild I broke, which I can think of at least 2 big guilds. You're talking like maybe 100 plus people in the guild. The majority of the people came and joined me in my new guild. So it wasn't really a breaking a guild. It was more or less I basically sat there and argued with the guild leader to a point where everybody started going, I'd rather follow that guy. So when I went, fuck you guys, I'm leaving, the guild came with me. So
yeah, we're going, man. We're going with man. We're not staying, man.
Yeah.
If you're leaving, I'm leaving.
I'm an asshole. I can't help it. And it's I never did it from a position of like the one guild I was in, Beyond Remorse. My experience as a raid team member in the playing originally, they wanted me to help get their guild ready for raiding. So that's what I did. So I spent all my time in the game grinding people through dungeons, grinding people to get gear, grinding people to get the experience, training. And then we get in the instance and it was like people I'd been working with to actually bust their ass and be ready would get removed because like the guild leader's girlfriend wanted to play, which all fairness, you know, it makes you do weird things.
She's got the vagina.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
So, but then the guild
And
fails.
the penis, it seems.
The guild wipes on the first trash mob, and everybody's like, well, why are we losing? And it's like, well, we're losing because we're bringing in people that don't know what they're doing. So, but yeah, old time history fast. But and pretty much first person now. I mean, I've played, if it's been an MMO that's been released, if it's an MMO that's been released in the past 8 years, I've played it.
That guild leader sounds like a duster, is what Miley says.
Dusters? What? Huh?
Sounds like a duster.
Dust. Oh, well. Yeah, it seems like almost every guild I've been in that's had it's just that was one of the worst because we literally it was like I'm just gonna bring in my friends and we're gonna get completely just destroyed. And I'm going to sit there for 5 hours banging my head against the table as we wipe on trash mobs. So,
This shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening.
I got that before. I killed a guild arguing about DKP, dragging kill points, because I thought DKP system was stupid. I killed a guild arguing over the fact that we need to bring people that are prepared, not just people that are friends. If you want to run your friends, that's fine. We're going to go somewhere else. You know? I was in charge of a guild that fell apart because I was one of the best geared paladins on my server, and I had other guilds that needed healing that I was we weren't doing the dungeons at the time. We weren't even saved to the instance. They were dragging me in to help heal, and some of the members of my guild were unhappy that I was going and running dungeons. They couldn't, and they basically started yelling at me and stuff. So I just was like, "Fuck you guys, it's your guild now," and I left it and turned the game off for like 3 months. So I mean, I'm a hardcore MMOer when I get addicted to something. But
So what was your next step in your gaming journey?
Team Fortress 2, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have a particular game I've dug into like America's Army back in the day. I mean, I pretty much just bounce from game to game to game now. Battlefield is definitely one I've been sticking to. First-person shooters are. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have like a particular go-to game. You know, I mean, around that time also, at the end of Cataclysm, I pretty much just was burned out on MMOs. I've tried to play MMOs since then. I've played like everyone that's been released since then. I just can't get into that freaking style. And first-person shooters, MOBAs, stuff like that, I dig too. But even they get me annoyed sometimes because just anti-players. But and like now it's pretty much just waiting for Star Citizen and hoping Star Citizen's an MMO. I'm probably going to be like who knows? But I don't know. Like I said, I play pretty much anything that just catches my attention right now, and it's like every 2 weeks it changes, and I'm like addicted to something else. 3 weeks ago it was Fishing Planet. 2 weeks ago it was like Battlefield Bad Company 2. Right now it's Payday 2. You know, it'll be Metal Gear Solid sometime this weekend where I'll just literally vegetate on that for like 24 hours straight, and
Variety is the spice of life.
it just keeps me interested, man. And the best thing about it is I don't have to get 9 other people to jump on fucking Q.
Yeah.
Syndragosa, don't stand in the fucking circles.
Gotta get out of the fire.
So,
Get out of the fire.
When she pulls you in,
Screw you guys.
you all run the fuck away. It's not rocket science. It's one boss away from the Lich. My God, we spent 3 months on that fucking fight and never killed Syndragosa.
We still got a lot of
I wake up in the middle of the night screaming Syndragosa for no apparent reason.
I think you need
Don't stand in the circle.
breathe.
Well,
It's over. It's over.
I think that means that we're about halfway done now. So go ahead and think, guys. I don't know how many viewers we have, but think of some questions you might want to ask us, and we're gonna go through our second half of the nightly grind staff here, and yeah, and then we'll take some questions if you want to ask.
I do have one more thing to add. Like Torn, like my name first off is technically everybody calls me Shadow because most people here know me as Shadow because that was my old gaming tag forever. It was my first person title and Fadakin is actually what I've been using in MMOs since Ultima Online back in 1999 when I started playing MMOs. Fadakin is also completely unique. Yes, it is from Dune, but it's spelled differently. If you see anybody else out there that has the spelling the way my name is, they've stolen it from me, okay? It's not from Dune. It's not fucking canon. It's the way I spell it. They're fucking stealing the shit from me. So, and I got a 1999 Ultima Online account that will prove that shit. So,
I think you're nerding out a little too much there.
shut the fuck up.
Alrighty, so I think Bone is up next.
That's me.
No, it
If I
isn't.
go by Bone or T-Bone, spelled
Nice.
T-E-A-U-N, not B-O-N-E, and it's unique to me as well. As far as how I
Pronounced
started,
me.
my father has always been very techie guy. He's in the insurance industry, but he's always had computers in his office. So we started very early on, Commodore 64s and things like that, playing, silly games like Frogger and games like that. Eventually, my grandmother actually got an NES, and I would play that over there. So that was my first console experience, was at my grandmother's
She
house.
got it just for you, right?
No, she played it. She would play Dr. Mario. You ever play that game?
Oh, yeah.
Fall down?
Dude,
Yeah.
my
She
grandmother
would
was
play the shit out of Dr. Mario. She played that game so much that the border around the outside was burned into her television screen. That's how much she played this game. Like, she played the shit out of Dr. Mario. But I would play like Mario Brothers 3 and stuff like that there. I eventually ended up getting a Jaguar one year because we were not wealthy and it was really old by the time. My dad got it for like $15 probably. So I played a Jaguar for a little while. And then eventually, after they realized that I played the shit out of it, they got me a PS1, and then I bought myself a PS2. And then eventually, when I went to college, I had a computer that was somewhat able to play games, so I got a graphics card. And I got America's Army, and that's where I met everybody else. Essentially, what I did was I looked for a map. I looked for people who were playing Bridge, and I saw who would be accepting people, and that's how it happened. It really was that easy. And so I've been PC gaming ever since. I did play some Xbox 360, but mostly PC games. And like everybody else in the clan, I don't need to go through that again, how all that happened. Now I'm mostly on League of Legends as my main game. Currently Platinum 1.
Had to throw that in there. I'm totally Platinum
If I
1,
can
don't
make it
worry.
to Diamond, I will be very happy this season. At
If
30,
you can make it to Diamond,
30 years old,
I will
if make
buy
it to
you a
Diamond,
drink.
it's fine.
I'll send it to you. I'll buy you a
At
drink.
30 years old, I think Diamond is probably be my cap. But hopefully I can make it there this season. And that's about it.
I think you
Marcel,
forgot the.
somebody had mentioned their first video card. I think first video card that I remember us having was a Voodoo card. Voodoo, those.
God.
Yeah,
they
that's
were.
what it was.
They're not like video cards today where you just pop it in and it works. They were much more pain in the ass. And like back,
PCI, the original.
and back when we had like a 286, I think it was. And
It wasn't an AGP.
286.
All I was gonna say, the only thing I can remember about my first graphics card, just jumping on that, is I friend built a computer for me, and after that I've built it myself since then. But I remember the first graphics card I bought with that, I bought a freaking PCI slot graphics card, right? And I had an AGP slot mother. So I remember sitting in the kitchen with my friend Pat, and I'm looking at this card, and I'm like, huh. Oh, that doesn't go into what's to plug into. It's like 20 minutes just like trying to figure out why this thing has a brown connector on it and there's no brown connector. Or there's just man, that was sucked, man.
Herpaderp.
Yeah, it was.
No fan on those cards.
It's so much plug and play now compared to what it was.
Anybody could build a it's.
But yeah, I think that was it was on 286. I think we had it on, and most people were running 386s or more at that point in time. But learning how to play games on that, you had to type, you do C:\\, the direct, and then you have to spell out the directory where your game is located to play. Think of like the original Madden game or something like that at that point, or Monkey Island, which we played.
The
DOS.
games,
You had to use DOS.
Yeah. That's how learning how to do a computer like that helps me so much today, understanding how they work. So I think that was really cool that I got to do that, because most people weren't. I mean, we were like one of the first people to get internet and stuff like that. Like we were usually ahead of the curve. So that was pretty cool. But other than that, I think that's about it for me.
I don't know. You forgot about your.
That's 56K.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
How could you forget about?
We didn't have 56K at first. We had the earlier
33.1.
28 or something.
28.4.
28K.
Yeah, I think we had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say this, Boone. I got to call you out on this.
Blazing.
Don't try to act like you didn't fucking MMO.
Yeah, RuneScape.
You were a.
I played a lot of RuneScape because I could play it at my.
I'm gonna leave that out. Just not talk about RuneScape.
I could play RuneScape at my job on campus. We played a shit ton of RuneScape, and my nephew just started playing RuneScape, and I'm gonna give him my old account.
Oh no!
So that'll be funny. But yeah, I played a lot of RuneScape.
Alrighty, well, I think JT is up next.
Well, first thing I ever started playing on, gaming wise in general, I believe was a Sega. And I've played on Nintendo and stuff like that before, but the first one I ever actually owned or had in any type of possession was a Sega Genesis. And I played the living shit out of that. And I still have a Sega Genesis and a ton of games and everything like that. And it kind of progressed from there to N64. And I remember like asking for nothing but gaming systems for birthdays and Christmases and everything for basically forever, really. But even to this day, I'm like, hey, I need a computer case. Let's see what else I can get for gaming out of, presents and things like that. But N64, PlayStation was a big one. It kind of influenced my horror game addiction. And Ninja kind of touched on that earlier. Like the first time I ever saw any type of horror in any type of game was our dad playing Resident Evil. And that scared the living shit out of me. And I remember like going to bed every night and I would curl up in the corner and like keep looking down the hallway and thinking some zombies or some shit were gonna come down the hallway.
So
and I literally would just stay there in the top bunk, stay there and just stare at the hallway all night long until I fell asleep. And I thought that was totally ridiculous. I think it's totally ridiculous now, but I'm like, hey, no zombie's gonna get me. I'm like, they got my brother down on the bottom bunk. Anyway, and from there basically kind of went to PlayStation 2. We all loved games in our household. We would every summer, when we were home from school, that's all we wanted to do, and we would like sneak them and play from them and stuff like that when our parents weren't home, and then like hurry up and shove them under the cabinets and stuff real quick when they got home so they didn't know we were playing it, and say, hey, can we play some video games now that you're home? And yeah, that was fun.
We got grounded a lot.
Yeah, we did. And so the first game I ever actually played online in general with any other people was actually Halo 2, I believe. And that was the first game I ever got introduced into any multiplayer aspect besides playing co-op with somebody else with another controller beside me. And that was fun. And that was when I first came up with my first screamer name, JT the Tank. And that's how a lot of people refer to me still as JT or whatever. And that actually came up because I used to play ghetto kind of football, like with my friends in a courtyard that had no grass, so it was literally on bricks. And we would slam the shit out of each other into trash cans and whatever else that we could find. And so I had the nickname JT the Tank because I used to run people over when I had the ball. You know, it was like stupid two-hand touch, but we tackled the crap out of each other anyway. So then that's kind of why I made my screen name that at first. And then eventually, you know, down along the line, I moved out and stuff like that, and I couldn't afford very much. I had a 360, and I played the crap out of that. And I was working night shifts, so on the nights that I had off, I would stay up all night playing Halo or Dragon Age or something like that. And then, you know, eventually my brother actually talked me into starting up PC gaming. And the first game, or really the whole way that I got started on that was League of Legends. And I would play on my Dell laptop. It's a piece of crap. I still have it. And it's a piece of crap.
Really
but
bad.
and I would literally play with the scroll bar. You know, like the little pad. I didn't have a mouse or anything. I would play on the little pad, like trying to play League of Legends and the clicky with the lock screen.
Now we know why you use lock screen. That explains everything.
Exactly. And it was pretty funny because like I would literally be at work with him or whatever, and I'd be like, before League of Legends really had a big meta, or at least I didn't know about metas.
No, you didn't know about it.
Karthus jungle or Karthus bottom lane, only wolves, you know. That stuff. But I would literally like, hey man, we should try like Talon Ash bottom. We should try this. And I would literally write them down on like receipt papers that were coming through the line in the kitchen, like, hey, we should try this combo, and like had no idea what metas were. Nothing. Just like, you know, trying to be.
It was
You
fun.
still create your own meta.
Pretty
I remember
much.
We're playing just random game. And you're like, I'm gonna try this build, and we're like, that's not gonna work on that character. And there's Outlaw with like 20 kills, 1 death. Like,
I just tried weird shit and it works. I don't know.
in all seriousness, this should not work.
Professionals are, you know, what do you call it? Predictable. It's the amateurs you have to be worried about, man.
Yeah, see, it's the opposite with Shadow, though, because he's like, I'm going to try this thing, and then it's like, oh,
Hey,
God, Shadow, please.
Almost everything I've said over the past, like, 4 years in League has come I'm just early.
Except they actually implemented it correctly.
I was like, Annie would make a good support. Annie's hard. No way everybody fucking plays Annie support. Like, Vel'Koz comes out, and I'm like, Vel'Koz is going to be, like, the best fucking support character.
That's
But it's
because
like,
every
you're
character
fucking
you're
moron.
like...
Vel'Koz is horrible. He'll never be support. Now fucking Bone, like, mains Vel'Koz.
No, I don't play him much anymore. He's okay, but
Oh, yeah.
He's okay.
he's
I
fun,
only
he's
played
fun
him
to
for like
play. He's fun to play, but it's not great.
Man. So, anyways, I played League of Legends, and I literally played bot games until I hit level 30. I didn't even play against other people because I wasn't into that or anything yet. And then, you know, eventually I started playing some games PvP and things like that. And eventually I was like, hey, I'll play with your friends. They're probably gonna hate me, and then pretty much, you know, Karthus, wolves, that whole fun stuff.
I remember Die Hard making so much fun of you. It was so funny.
That was like season 1. I mean, there really was meta in season 1.
It's season 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty bad. But then, you know, like, after I got used to PC gaming, because that was the first time I PC gaming, and that was like 5 years ago now, I think. I don't know, it was back in like 2011 or 2010, one of the two. And, you know, then eventually I came around to actually just PC gaming and, you know, ended up joining 1F when they had it, and they, you know, trying to come up with a name. So eventually I grabbed the name Outlaw, which I think is pretty cool. It's not original, but it's better than like 1F and Pirate or something, which if everybody doesn't know, I'm addicted to pirate stuff.
No.
So
Pirates
and then
versus ninjas.
Right. And then basically, you know, playing a lot of PvE games, PvP games. I'm not an MMO person usually. I play some things here and there, and I'm excited for Star Citizen, but I've never played Warcraft or gotten addicted to any type of those games at all. But I do like story-driven games a lot, and I like co-op games a lot, because I like getting on here and playing games with these guys, even if it's, you know, like Payday or Dark Souls or stuff like that. And that's where I find a lot of enjoyment. And it's hard for me to play single-player games anymore, just because I'm like, all my friends are online. Why am I playing this by myself? You know, like, I'd rather just hang out with those guys. It's kind of like a social aspect for people that don't have very big social lives for the most part. Which is funny because I'm a chef. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
It works
Everybody
well
knows
for serious people in serious relationships or who are married, because at least you ain't out with the boys at the bar.
Right. But then you hear the thing I know I've heard Kim and Tyler too, you know, they're like, he never spends time with me, and I get it all the time too. He never spends time with me. You're always on that stupid computer. I get that a lot.
Staring at the back of your head. That's funny. That's what I do to you all the time.
Yeah.
We were dating in college, and it was no different. She knew what she was gonna
Kim's
do.
here.
It's like that for like the first year, but then after that, once they get used to it, and they're like, are you gaming tonight, or are you gonna hang out with me? And you're like, I really want to game, but we can hang out for a little bit. And she's like, just go game, you know, like, that's cool. But so I mean, that's really about it for the most part. You know, I grew a lot of horror games out of being scared shitless of Resident Evil when I was a kid. So I play a lot of horror games just to relive that a little bit, which is kind of weird, I guess, but I like it.
No, horror games is definitely the growing genre right now, so it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's great.
Especially the horror survival games. You know, the new one that just came out that I don't have a PlayStation 4 for is that Until Dawn, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching people on Twitch playing that, and oh my gosh, it's an amazing game. But that's about it for me.
All right, cool. Well, Benthans, I believe you're up.
Yep, I have to, I guess, make mine fast and short and sweet.
You can take your time. Take your time with it.
You got 30 seconds.
Like
Oh
19,
no, not 30 seconds! No.
where he's
Okay,
like talking about ColecoVision and shit.
It's,
Torn, you bastard, you old man, you. No, first I'm gonna do a quick shout out to Steve Miley, someone that decided to watch the stream tonight. Thank you for.
Is that
if you were
Miley
watching-
Dog?
That might be Miley Dog. If that is you, Steve, thank you for
Hi.
supporting and watching.
Thanks for watching.
We should also be having another person that I talked to that will probably check the podcast out tonight. I don't know if she is watching. Yes, a chick is watching, maybe.
Girls?
I know.
What?
It's kind of like a sausage festival. But anyhow,
Really?
my history. I don't know how old I was. I started back playing Sega Genesis. I didn't own it. It was a friend. Sega Genesis, Toe Jam and Earl. I remember playing that game with my
yeah.
sister. We player one, player two it, and it was a great game. I don't think we ever finished the ship because I don't think we could save because we didn't have the memory cards or whatever then. So, but it was still a fun game. We loved it. Then Sonic, of course, within there. Friends would have like PlayStations and the SNES, so playing Mario and some of those racing games on there. Moved eventually on to Game Boy Color. Sorry, not the original Game Boy. Moved on to the Game Boy Color because I actually saw some kids when I was at a family resort camp thing, and they were playing Pokemon Blue.
Yeah.
And I got addicted. I was watching this kid. He's like, "Do you want to try?" I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know what's going on, but I want to try. So he put out Pokemon Red and let me play it because he had like a brand new copy of this. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. So I chose Charmander because like I saw the image like, oh man, if I choose Charmander, maybe I get something special because I'm choosing the Pokemon that's related to the cartridge. Nothing like that ever happened, but
I had Pokemon Yellow. I got stuck with Pikachu all the time, I think.
well, yeah, you start with Pikachu, but you can
I
get.
had Pokemon Blue.
I had all three of them eventually, but either way, eventually down the line, I think it was that Christmas or something, my mom got me a Game Boy Color as a gift, and with the Pokemon games, and I just played like Zelda and all that stuff on the handheld. That's where I grew up and everything. Then eventually I got in the mix of seeing all the consoles and everything. It's like, well, you get to choose. You either get the PlayStation or the N64. At the time, I didn't have like a CD player or anything, so in my mind, I'm like, if I get the PlayStation, I can use it as a CD player. So I got the PlayStation 4. That was another gift for Christmas, and I played the first game I actually owned on it was one of those Pizza Hut demo games. I played the crap out of Tony Hawk Pro Skater demo.
Playing the shit out of Tony Hawk.
I would play that game so much. It was just like one level. You had 3 minutes to play on that level, and it reset everything. So you had to start it all over and play it again. But it was free. Like that was how I played my games. Then I got my actual first full-blown game was Spyro the Dragon. I put in time, but my sister put in the most time, and I think she still hates me till this day because I turned off the console before we bought a memory stick, and she was missing one gem.
Oh, no.
100% the game. She was like missing one gem from one of those time trials, and I turned it off.
That's dedication.
Such a bad brother, Bentons. Jesus.
I know, it's so bad. After Tony Hawk, or not Tony Hawk, I did get Tony Hawk Pro Skater eventually. Was badass at that. Grinded everything. Grind.
Pause on Tony Hawk for a second. I remember getting the demo disc for Tony Hawk. Remember when they sent demo discs out with the magazines, and me and my brother played the shit out of the demo for that game. That game was so awesome.
Moving from that, like I really got into gaming, not just because of like Game Boy Color and PlayStation. I really got into the JRPG genre because of Final Fantasy games. I first saw Final Fantasy VII, didn't own it right away, and then I think the first one I did own was Final Fantasy VIII. Played that game. It was confusing because I played the demo for 7 and they had a different system to it. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. Why do they change everything? But I got into that, and I got into Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics. I got into basically all of the JRPGs you could think of at that time period. Then I got into some of the classic fighting games and whatever. But after moving from the PS1, I actually skipped PS2, went straight to an Xbox, played Halo, Gauntlet, Dark Legacies. What was the other one? Jet Set Radio Future, which I think was originally on Sega's Dreamcast and then was brought over when Sega got bought out by Microsoft or something like that. I can't remember exactly what happened, but Jet Set Radio Future put tons of time into that. Not just like, it was a fun game, but the music and soundtrack was so addicting that I would just let it play by itself and listen. And then after the Xbox, I got a 360, moved on to a computer and started playing Diablo 2, Warcraft 2, and then Warcraft 3 eventually. And I had to upgrade my RAM, sadly, so I could be able to play World of Warcraft, which at the time I was computer illiterate. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but if I put it in, I can play it. If I take it out, I can't play it. So in theory, if I just keep it in, I can play. So I started playing WoW. And I never actually was able to do what you did, Shadow, do the classic vanilla raids. I was level 45 when Burning Crusade came out, so I never got to witness that, but I did get to witness a lot of the vanilla content to that point on. I can actually say something like, I remember back in the day we didn't have instant bullshit that sends you straight into the raid or dungeon. You actually had to walk your ass to the summoning stone and summon someone there, not just by yourself, with a teammate. I think you needed 3 people back then to actually summon people. I'm not sure, but I remember that. Moved to the 360 eventually. Had fun with that. Halo 2, Halo 3. Was 4 for the 360? 360 was out for like 11 years, right? Something like that. But I fell in love with the computer when I was starting to play WoW and Diablo 3, or not Diablo 3, Diablo 2. I put so much time in that game. Horrible at it, but still put tons of time in it. And then to kind of fast forward a lot there, the computer got nicely built. Actually, was more powerful than today's, or not more powerful, but more powerful than what most of my friends had computer-wise. Was playing League of Legends. I started during, I think, near the end of the beta. I didn't get any of those like awesome beta skins, but I was near the end of the beta playing it because like free game, that was like still a new thing to me. It's like, wow, this is interesting. Was playing it, and I think season 2, it was season 2. I was playing a custom game with some people. Like someone told me about it. It's like, yeah, it's ARAM. You just stay in middle, you random a character, you play the game. You can't go back and all that shit. Like this was before they actually had the game, but this is where you actually had to put trust on the line, whereas dedicated players to play ARAM. And I was playing it, and I met with Anti-Ice, and I think a little bit later on was Shadow that joined us. And I think after the one game, I was carrying hard or something, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna play some other ones. Do you want to join our event?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? I got nothing else to lose. I don't work or do anything." So I got like 4 hours to kill, maybe more. Okay, I had like 10 hours to kill, but played with you guys, and then I think like after so many games and being on the vent chat with you guys, I eventually did join the clan. And I think it was the same thing with Ninja, where Anti's like, "Ha, newbie, he's gonna be the bitch," and backfired on him again.
It happened to me too, but obviously that didn't work.
Anti always has been one of our best recruiters because Anti desperately tries to get somebody to replace his bitch status.
He always hopes, but it's like always the bridesmaid, never a bride.
But like computer games, I got into League of Legends a lot. I actually was a competitive player, basically like Bone. I think it was during season 1, 2, not much 3. I think 3 is where I kind of faded off the map. But I actually had a gold status in season 1 at one point, which back then, that stuff was really screwed up with the ranking system. Then I just started to stop really caring because the community was just so toxic, and I just could never make a full team to play. Moved back into WoW multiple times. I actually jumped from MMO to MMO. I tried Aeon, Terra, a lot of free ones that had popped up here and there. I was an MMO junkie. I was also a game hopper. I jumped from console PC. Fast forward a little bit more, played with you guys a lot. I guess, like, yeah, that's really it. It's like, really, here I am today. I'm on a podcast with gamers that have beards and are like, they're 20s, some in 30s, I don't know. I'm sorry, man. Death stare.
I wish.
But kind of going with how I got my name, I actually started with Shin. Within Japanese, Shin is death. So I think it was Breath of Fire or something on Game Boy, and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. And so I started with going Shin, and then some games Shin was taken, so I used the number 52. Don't know why, just number that's like just popped, like 52. I think it's because the number pad 5-2 are right next to each other. Then after that, I moved to Sinboy 52 also, if Sinboy wasn't taken, and I would use that for the longest time. Then when I got into WoW, that's where Benthans came in. I was like, okay, I can't really use I can't use numbers, and I don't want to use Shin or Sinboy, so I thought of a different name where, well, actually I didn't really think. I pressed the random button, I got Benthans. And kind of stuck with me. I do go by other names besides Benthans. What was the other name? You guys know is Benku, which is my league account name. So, by the way, I'm self-advertising right now. If you want to play a game sometime, add me, Benku. But yeah, that's kind of where I am now. Still jump games, so.
I picked the name Torrensol because it was a lot scarier than a white fluffy bunny.
Hey,
I don't know, man.
ARAM
That's
team
strike
was
fear.
amazing, okay?
one of the guilds I was in that was actually with the group of good people in Warcraft was known as the Bunny Crushers. Just saying.
What was our ARAM team when we did the tournament? I think it was like Fuzzy Fluffy Bunny Slippers.
Something like that. Yeah.
We lost.
We did
lost
amazing
our
in that.
first. We lost our first match, so bad.
In 20
One
minutes,
guy-
not even that.
Yeah,
So
the stream was 30 minutes long, but it was like done, game over. We one guy, he's like, guys, I got so much health regen. Bush dead. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a great game, guys.
We lost our first game in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then our second game, I think our second game we lasted pretty long. We lasted, I think, like 15
They
minutes.
after you beat a team's ass in 5 minutes, you don't really have to take it seriously anymore. You can have some fun.
Yeah. And also our team had low morale. We're kind of yelling at each other, like, "What the hell, man?" It's like, dude, what are you doing? Why do you keep face checking? You're not an anti.
So, I don't know if we had any questions for us or not. I didn't really see.
I did
So,
not see any questions
Right.
related to the stream. It looks like.
So, yeah, I think we're gonna end it with that then. So, we gave you
This
a
has
little
been
bit of
the history of us.
Yeah, a little bit of history about us as individuals and how the podcast clan, whatever you want to call us. I don't even know what to call us anymore.
We are the nightly grind. That's what we are.
Yeah, we're the Nightly Grind. So, if you guys want to, go ahead and make sure you hit that follow button. We'd appreciate it. We'd like to see you around more often. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. It's down below as well. You can go see our individual channels as well. Twitter, we'll tweet every time we go live. Am I missing anything?
Thank you again, Steve, Miley, or Miley Dog 32. Thank you for lasting this hour and plus more. It was awesome to have you here.
Website
Thank
is
you for lasting so long.
nightligrind.tv.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us with the forums there, just go check us out, make an account, be a guest.
Actually,
check
I'm
it out.
updating the forums right now.
Okay, the forums are being updated, so don't do anything.
They're a little slow right now, but
But
they'll be
the
better.
nightlygrind.tv, our new website, so check it out. Thanks for
Yeah.
watching, guys.
Thank
Make sure
you.
you follow.
Later.
Have a good night.